everybody, it's Dave with No Chaser, and today's topic is, I was thinking about, I had a little bit of a close call recently, and, I got through it, made it through sober, made it through because I actually learned how to use a phone, even though I've known how to use a phone, I was able to use supports and friendships and coping skills and all that boring, helpful stuff, but, I was thinking about this topic in terms of, reservations that I still have of what is something I'm holding on to that I would still drink over. Now, when I bring up a topic like this, what I mean by something you still drink over is that I've heard people say that, they set up these sort of things in their future to where they'd be like, if this were to happen to me, I know I'd drink over this, or I don't know how I'd get over this. And sometimes it's almost like setting up a future in which you are able to drink. It's leaving the door open a little bit, just teeny smidge, just so you are able to drink somehow in the future. And I know that my whole life lived like that. There was so many reservations I kind of had, so many future appointments with drinking that I had, where it's if I had lost my job, or if I had lost my relationship, or if I had lost this thing, I was going to drink over it. And it was so crazy because I was already setting up a situation or a scenario in my future that I was going to drink over that hadn't even occurred yet. And the tricky thing is that once that gets into my mind, once I even allow a little bit of wiggle room for the thought of drinking to come in, it all floods in. One of the craziest things about addiction, whether it comes to drinking or using, is the way that your own brain is attacking you from within. It's a weird feeling to have your own mind go against itself. I talked about this in a previous episode about kind of the split brain thing, thoughts that you're thinking about and thinking about those thoughts that you're thinking about. The addict mind, because it's designed with such tremendous horsepower of desire and will and sneakiness, that it can actually split off into different arguments that you're having with yourself. I mean, it is true form of insanity. And a lot of times when I tell people if this addiction and drinking and alcoholism doesn't make sense to you, don't worry, it doesn't make sense to me either. But there was a lot of times where I would actually kind of catch myself, because I'd be thinking, it's I'd be in some meeting, or I'd be talking to somebody that was going through some hardship, and I would think in my head, it's oh man, if that had occurred to me, if I had lost that thing that they lost, I would definitely hit the bottle. It was just why did that thought even come to me though? Why, or rather, why did I not even challenge that thought? Because what it's doing is already opening up some sort of opportunity for my mind to gravitate towards a place where it can still drink. One of the biggest breakthroughs that I'm trying to achieve, and that I've been working on as I documented recently through the ketamine assisted treatments, is to have breakthroughs in the idea that there's nothing in the future or in the present moment at all that is worth or is going to get me to drink. There is not a scenario to which I have to drink. And I know that may seem patently obvious to a lot of people. It's well, yeah, no duh. There's literally, you don't have to drink over anything in life. But to an alcoholic or to an addict, there's things in your brain where it's just well, you know what? If I had lost these things, or if I was homeless, or if I had my, God forbid, something traumatic happened, I couldn't handle that. And that's just your brain's way, again, because these are hypothetical scenarios that are being created. So it's already creating that space where it's allowing just a little bit of room, it's just planting the seeds and getting a nice little fertile soil for a place to where you can indulge in the behavior of drinking. And, I know that even at times when it doesn't feel particularly threatening, it comes across in ways where I just would think to myself, if I'm having a crummy day and I'm just in a depressive wave, or certain negative thoughts come over me, I'll just be thinking man, I don't know if I could put up the ifs, especially man, I don't know if I could put up with another day of this thing. I don't know if I could if I come home and this person's yelling at me, or if this person at work didn't finish this thing, or if my so-and-so didn't do this, I don't know if. And that if is such a key thing, because there's so much hiding behind that if, because it's if what? If that happens, what? Now, for most people, there's really nothing behind it. It's just something that they're considering in their mind that's a harbinger of anxiety or sort of worry. But I believe, at least for me, in the alcoholics or the addict's mind, that is, then we get to do the thing that we really want to do. And that was like a state of mind that I could not break, like, for the life of me, because it would always secretly plant these seeds of a sort of doubt in my ability to stop drinking, or it would always find a way that I could, like, finagle a way to give up. Like, even if I didn't think I was going to, like, drink normally or just be, like, alcoholic for the weekend, I could find a way to finagle myself into being like, you know what, I actually don't think I care about life, which, as it always comes down to it, I do, but in that moment, it feels like I don't. And holding that reservation, holding that thing, in my mind, that this will be the thing that I drink over, even if it's something that seems like, well, that's never going to happen. Like, anything can happen in life, but just holding that is still, like, just leaving enough, like I said, that sort of, like, destructive wiggle room for a chance that something could occur in your life to drink. And once that's there, once that, like, crack in the window's there, everything else can be let in. And I found myself, like, a really good example of this is that, I was looking forward to something. I was looking at, like, this expectation that I had towards a project that I was working on with my friend. And I already, with, like, the cynical, depressive thought of, like, I don't think it'll work out this way, and I don't think it'll turn out this way, and, like, all these negative thoughts come rushing in. And the first thing, like, that built up the kind of, like, the sad anxiety that came with it, the first thought was just, like, this negative approach was like, okay, well, if this doesn't work out, I'm really going to be like, and in my mind, I was like, you're really going to what, David? You're really going to what? And that was part of my drinking mind being like, you're really going to drink. Because that's all it really was. It was just a way to create another scenario in my future to which I could drink. And trying to catch these thoughts as they come is very difficult. Like I said, a lot of times awareness can just be painful because I will have the awareness of the problem. It won't fix it, but I'll have the awareness. But sometimes for once, it can actually be helpful. So I just put that forward to you. Like, think about anything in your life that, what is a thing that you might be holding out for that could have you call up that person, get the crack pipe. That doesn't even make sense. You want to get the crack and use whatever for the crack pipe. Anyways, grab the bottle. What would be that thing in your life? And, comment below if any strategies or anything you can think of that has worked for you in that respect. I'd love to hear it. Hit the like, subscribe button. I'll do all the things. Hook me up on MySpace if you guys still got that page to make me one of your top 8. Check out my podcast that I co-host, Shoeless in South Dakota. And then, other than that, be well.